They say nothing is more evil than the death of an innocent. But how about the death of a priest during an exorcism? What would you do if, while watching an exorcism, the demon suddenly turns to the priest and kills him? Well, that is exactly what happened one night in New Mexico back in 1923. But this story does not end there. June 1923, a small town in New Mexico was shaken to its core after hearing news of an exorcism gone wrong. The small town was located next to a large Air Force base, and in it lived a family of 4, Andrew, Maria, and their 2 daughters, Josie and Adelina. At first glance, they looked like any normal family, but things were far from normal. Adelina, the youngest daughter, was only 8 years old when her behavior began to change. It started off slow with strange looks, then progressed to strange sounds. Finally, she could not speak and spent all day staring at the wall. Of course, the parents were worried sick and took their daughter to see a doctor. The doctor performed a few tests, tried a few things, but could not come up with an answer. After a week, he sent them to another hospital, saying he had never seen anything like this before. This went on for months until finally, someone told them to take their daughter to see Father Josiah Bio. He was known throughout the state as the man who could cure the possessed. On the way to the priest, Adelina's condition worsened. She could not speak and seemed to be losing weight. Her eyes stared blankly ahead. No matter what her parents said or did, she didn't react. They knocked on the door of Father Bio. When he opened the door, he could immediately tell something was wrong. Without hesitation, he invited them in. After hearing their story, he agreed to help the young girl. He led them to a room in the back, where a large wooden cross stood. "This will help her," he said. He instructed the parents to bring the girl into the room and leave her by the cross. Then he left to prepare holy water. The moment the priest left, the girl's eyes flashed open. She let out a blood-curdling scream and the walls began to shake. Suddenly, she lunged towards her parents, scratching and biting. They screamed for help as she ripped through their clothes. It was then that the father realized what they were dealing with here was no ordinary possession. They needed Father B. He came running. He held out a vial of holy water, but the girl swatted his hand away. As he stumbled back, she jumped on him, knocking him to the ground. And that's when the demon revealed itself. It spoke in a voice like gravel. "Do you think your little girl is possessed? Ha ha, you fools. I am here. You can call me Valak." With that, the demon pounced on the priest. He fought back with all his might, holding the cross above his head. He sprinkled holy water. He even managed to land a few hits, but the demon was too strong. The girl was thrashing around, and soon the fight between good and evil became a fight for survival. The demon tore through the priest's clothes and bit onto his arm. Blood spilled everywhere. The priest screamed. Was this the end? Would evil prevail? Was this small town doomed to live with a demon? As the struggle continued, the girl's body began to glow a faint red color. Suddenly, the demon stopped struggling. It let go of the priest and looked straight at the camera. "Goodbye, Father," it said in a sadistic tone. Then the girl exploded. Flies flew everywhere, big, black, and angry. The demon had taken its final form. It was a swarm of black flies. They flew toward the people in the room, biting through their skin. The father and mother screamed and ran out of the room. All the flies followed them. The father tripped over some rocks outside and fell on the ground. As he protected his head, he felt something crawl over his face. He swatted at it. Then he felt something else crawl under his shirt. He screamed again as the flies began to eat his flesh. The mother was no better off. She screamed and ran for help, but it was too late. The flies got inside her dress and bit her legs. Soon the whole town was overrun with flies. People screamed and tried to swat them away, but there were just too many. Some people fainted from blood loss. Others were eaten alive. When it was all over, only 3 people remained. The priest was dead. The father was missing an eye and half his nose. The mother had lost both arms and 1 leg. The trio made it back to the room where the attack had started. It was covered in crosses and holy water. They crawled inside and stayed there all night. In the morning, the sun had driven most of the flies away. The 3 survivors crawled out of the house. They had survived, but they would never forget what they had seen. But there's more to the story. For decades afterward, people reported hearing screams coming from inside the church. One night, someone decided to investigate. They broke into the church and found nothing. Ever since, the church has been boarded up and the town has grown around it. They've tried to tear it down, but it seems to be held in place by something evil. To this day, if you walk past the church at midnight, you can hear screaming coming from inside. Some say it's the spirit of the demon fly, Valak, and others say it's the spirits of the townspeople who are eaten alive. Whatever it is, it's terrifying. Now, we know you're probably wondering what happened to those flies after they killed the priest. Well, according to reports, they never left the church. Sure, they swarmed the town and ate a bunch of people, but when the sun came up, they all flew back to the church and have been trapped there ever since. Now, this raises a lot of questions, like how can a demon be trapped in fly form? How did the priest get infected in the first place? And why hasn't the church been able to be torn down? Well, to be honest, no one really knows. What we do know is that the church still stands today, eerily silent, except for the screams in the night. It's almost like a warning to stay away, like the demon Valak doesn't want to be disturbed, and maybe that's why no one's ever been able to tear the darn thing down. This story was taken from real events that happened back in 1923. A young girl was indeed possessed, and an exorcism was performed by a priest. How do you feel about the story? Let us know in the comments below. We also want to hear from anyone who may have visited this church or even lives near it. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an awesome video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.